It's a beautiful day today and a beautiful day to read some more concerning but really fun Reddit stories, and I hope you guys are excited. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure you like and subscribe if you want to, and let the fun begin. Enjoy, guys. Am I the a-hole for leaving my boyfriend at a wedding that I wasn't originally invited to? My boyfriend's a groomsman at a wedding this weekend. He told me that I was invited, so I was excited to finally meet his friends, but for some reason I had this gut feeling that I wasn't. I'm not sure why, maybe his responses and reactions when I asked him, but I asked him to double check to see if I was actually invited, and he refused until 1 week prior to the wedding. Come to find out that I indeed was not invited, but they were going to figure it out. At that point, I was sincerely okay not going, as I understand budgets for weddings, and it was the week prior they figured out my spot, and I was going to take somebody else's spot who could no longer go. I was uncomfortable and embarrassed, but I didn't want to say no because they really put in the effort. Well, today's the rehearsal dinner, and I was making the 1 hour drive, and I needed to get ready at the Airbnb. I never got the address after asking numerous times until 1:30, and when I arrived, my boyfriend told me that I had 15 minutes to get ready. I was so furious at the lack of respect yet again, and he said suck it up and get over it and go inside and get ready. Oh my god, so bad. I already know what the comments are gonna say. I asked who's inside, and he said a bunch of his friends. I haven't met them yet. I was in tears due to the lack of empathy and compassion. I ended up leaving because I didn't feel welcome in the first place, and definitely not welcome after that. Am I the a-hole for leaving? No, you're not the a-hole, OP, but you are the a-hole if you stay with your boyfriend. What the hell sort of way is that to treat your partner? That's so sad, and of course you're not in the wrong. This comment says not the a-hole. That's all clear cut. You aren't really welcome here behavior, and you had a right to be upset. The comment above that says, sweetheart, I think he's using you. That's not the behavior of a loving partner. The way that you felt is legitimate because nobody should be spoken to in that way in that situation. Read the comments. I think they're right. He did not want you there. Hold your head up and extricate yourself from this relationship. You're so much more valuable than he's treating you. The top comment says, not the a-hole. Sounds like your boyfriend is embarrassed to be seen with you in that particular group. Maybe he'd hoped that you declined going and was shocked when you accepted his fake invitation, because I don't get that attitude towards you. OP said this in the comments. He is super thoughtless in a lot of ways. He prioritizes fun and play over work and home. An example that just happened is that he had a $1,000 fine, and if he doesn't pay it, his car will be towed if pulled over on the highway, but instead paid $2,500 for his golf membership. Yeah, the comment under that. Throw the whole man away. What's going on now is never gonna change. Do you want to spend more time or the rest of your life with somebody this thoughtless? Yeah, and not only thoughtless, but super disrespectful. Like this comment says, not the a-hole. Dump him yesterday, especially the way that he told you to suck it up and get over it and get inside and get ready. Excuse me, who the does he think he's talking to? Run away and don't look back. He's got no respect for you whatsoever. Yeah, could not agree more. That's so sad. Post number 2 is called, am I the a-hole for refusing to share my inheritance with my siblings, even though they're struggling? So, for some context, I'm 28 female and the youngest of 3 siblings. My parents recently passed away unexpectedly and left behind a will. In the will, my parents left me the majority of their estate, including their house and some savings. My older siblings, 34 female and 32 male, were left significantly less, but they were given a fair amount too. The reasoning behind it, according to my parents, is that I've always been the one taking care of them, helping them out financially and managing the house. My siblings, on the other hand, have been pretty absent. They've always struggled with maintaining jobs, and I've bailed them out financially several times. My parents believed that I would use the inheritance responsibly, whereas they weren't so sure about my siblings. Here's where things get tricky though. Both of my siblings are now in a financial crisis. They've come to me asking if I'd be willing to share more of my inheritance and help them out. They're struggling with their rent, and one of them has medical bills that they can't cover. They've accused me of being selfish and not doing the right thing, since I have more than they do now. The thing is, I've already helped them out so many times over the years, often at the cost of my own financial security. I feel like my parents left things this way for a reason, and I should honor their wishes. I've worked hard to get where I am, and I feel like constantly bailing out my siblings won't teach them to be more responsible. I'm not rolling in cash either. I'm still working hard to build my own life and my own future. Now, my siblings have been telling our extended family that I'm greedy and heartless for not sharing more of the inheritance, and a lot of them agree. I'm feeling a lot of guilt, but I'm also frustrated because I don't think it's fair that I'm expected to keep rescuing them. So am I the a-hole for refusing to share my inheritance with my struggling siblings? Yeah, I don't know. I feel like you're right, OP. I feel like your parents did that for a reason, and all you're doing at the moment is honoring what they wanted. Are you the a-hole for doing that? I don't think so. This comment says, extended family don't have all the facts. Maybe point that out to them without giving details and tell them that they're welcome to give them money, not the a-hole. Yeah, also, it's so annoying every time we read one of these, and they get their extended family or their friend's opinion, and it's basically irrelevant what they think, because yeah, like that comment said, they probably don't even know what's going on. The top comment says, not the a-hole, you're following your parents' wishes. If they wanted your siblings to have the money, they would have given it to them. If your extended family is so concerned about it, they can help your siblings out, and you know that they won't, because it's easier to give away somebody else's money than their own. Yeah, that's such a good point. If they were in your shoes, OP, they'd probably do the exact same. Yeah, this one too, not the a-hole. They've accused me of being selfish and not doing the right thing. Really? My siblings, on the other hand, have always been pretty absent. They've always struggled maintaining jobs, and I've bailed them out financially several times. And what, you're the selfish one? Your parents did that for a good reason. Yeah, this comment's also interesting. If your primary reason is respecting my parents' wishes, you the a-hole for that. Your parents' wishes have been followed. The estate has been divided. End of story. The money is now yours, and it's up to you what to do with it. The wishes nonsense is an excuse, something that you're saying so you don't have to take the blame for not helping your siblings. It's time to be an adult. If you think the money would be wasted, explain that to them. If they've wasted all the previous money you've given them, and the inheritance that they received as well, explain that to them. If you'd rather have the money than a good reputation in your extended family, then tell them. Make a decision and take responsibility for what you choose. Yeah, definitely, you're not the a-hole, OP. And yeah, like that comment said, be honest with them. You even said yourself that they got an inheritance. It is what it is, and you can't keep on bailing them out forever. The next one's on the Entitled People subreddit. Entitled Dairy Queen customer. 10 plus years ago, I was 16, me, working at a Dairy Queen, a classic high schooler summer job in my town. Customers frequently try to pull any BS they can to get free food. This one's my favorite. A 30-something-year-old woman, EW, me. Hello, welcome to Dairy Queen. What can I get for you? Entitled woman. One large Oreo blizzard. Okay, so far so good. She arrives at the door and pays. I make her blizzard, a pretty basic job. You have a cup of ice cream, you scoop in already crushed ingredients, and you blend it further. What's to complain about? Well, I hand her the blizzard and she looks at it a bit disappointed. EW, the Oreos in here are too pulverized. Make me another. She hands it back to me. As a 16-year-old, I didn't give a and I made her a new one. This time hardly blending it, practically just an Oreo sundae in a cup. Here you go, ma'am. EW. Oh, well, what are you going to do with that other blizzard? I can take it so it's not a waste. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't do that. The Oreos are too pulverized. I visibly threw it away and I shut the window and took the next order. Her face was surprised Pikachu. Wow, that's so funny, and good on you for doing that, OP. Oh, what are you going to do with that other one? It'd be such a shame to waste it, wouldn't it? I can take it off your hands. No, you can't eat this one. The Oreos are way too pulverized. We can't have that. That's so annoying. And like this comment says, one entitled a-hole at a time. Yeah, 100%. And also the funniest part about it is the blizzard that they sent back for being too pulverized with the Oreos. That would have been so much better than the other one. And they didn't even get it. You did the right thing, OP. The next one says, am I the a-hole for not having my sister-in-law babysit again after she was offended by a game? My son, 4, loves a color sorting game on his tablet. You take people that are different colors, rainbow colors, and you put him into cars or buses that are the same color. My sister-in-law babysat him and took his tablet away and said that the game was teaching him microaggression by sorting people in buses by color. And how could I be okay with a game like that? I rolled my eyes at her saying it's a game and it's teaching him numbers and colors and grouping. There's not one thing that's wrong with that. She said the history with grouping people by colors on buses speaks for themselves and I should know better, and I shouldn't be encouraging my son to play that game. I told my husband that this is the last time that I'm allowing his crazy ass sister to watch our child because she prioritizes the dumbest things. My husband thinks that I'm overreacting and his sister could use the extra money. We paid her $25 an hour and we could use the date nights. I told him that we'd find somebody else better because I don't want to be lectured about games that my child plays whenever I have to interact with somebody, and it just puts a damper on our date nights if I have to end it by hearing his sister speak. Edit to include rainbow people and price. Edit number 2, my sister-in-law and husband are white. I'm Korean, second generation American. No, I'm with you on this, OP. I don't feel like you're the a-hole. You didn't say anything super rude or hurtful. You don't owe this to your sister-in-law. And yeah, it does sound frustrating and you definitely can find somebody else. And yeah, she's making an issue that doesn't even exist. That's so frustrating. The top comment says, info, are the people flesh color or rainbow colors, like green and purple, not the a-hole? And OP said rainbow colors. Yeah, that's not an issue. The second top comment says, not the a-hole. People like your sister-in-law are insufferable. The living embodiment of a microaggression themselves with their over-the-top preaching. And your husband offering, my husband thinks I'm overreacting and his sister sister could use the extra money and we could use the date nights. That may be so, but you can do without her drama altogether. Do the job that you were hired to do and not what you may think it is. The comment below that says, I hate to bring race into this, but since it is apparently about racism, I strongly assume the sister is white and getting offended on the behalf of minorities who probably wouldn't care if you asked them, not the a-hole. And OP said, yeah, my husband and sister are white, I'm Korean, and my grandparents are immigrants. Yeah, no, she's getting offended over nothing. This comment says, not the a-hole. I'm a person of color and I feel like your sister-in-law is the type of person who'd get offended on behalf of people of color and start a whole bunch of drama when they themselves are fine about the thing. Yeah, also this comment, not the a-hole. I wish I had nothing to worry about except the feelings of purple and orange people being sorted onto a bus. Yeah, that's such a good point. Yeah, she does sort of sound insufferable, OP. And yeah, 100% get a different babysitter. This comment says pink, blue, yellow, and green people have been discriminated against for long enough. I say no more. Just kidding, obviously, sister is a nut job, not the a-hole. Post number 5 is called Am I the a-hole? My husband flicked his lighter in my face and I slapped him in response. So my husband is a smoker. He smokes when he's upset or anxious as a way to get himself to calm down. We've been married for 2 months and we've never had any fights or arguments until yesterday. So we were sitting together on the sofa and he decided to have a cigarette. I was on my phone sending an important email and he was complaining about some pimple that appeared on his cheek. He kept on telling me to take a look at it and I told him to wait until I'd finished sending the email because it was an important email. Suddenly and out of nowhere, he flipped open his lighter and he put it insanely close to my face and flicked it. I didn't feel burn or heat, but the light scared me. I screamed so loud and then I immediately slapped him across the face and I cussed him out. He played confused and hurt and said that he was only trying to get my attention. He said it was my fault for ignoring him and staring at my phone instead. I told him he was nuts. And then he said that I was out of line for slapping him and then stormed out to continue smoking. I was so shaken that I started crying and I went to sleep in our guest room. We haven't talked since. Was my reaction over the top? Maybe slapping him was not okay, but it was a natural reaction to what he'd done. I don't know if he was only messing with me or trying to get back at me for ignoring him. Am I the a-hole? Yeah, the top comment. Sometimes I wonder if I'm immature and then I look on here and I feel somewhat better. Yeah, what the hell did we just read? The comment below that says he smokes in the house and you're not a smoker. That alone, like this comment says, the situation highlights a breakdown in communication and mutual respect. Instead of escalating the situation with a slap, both of you could have communicated more effectively. Discussing how to handle frustrations and setting boundaries for acceptable behavior could prevent such conflicts in the future. This comment says instinctive self-defense comes in whatever form it comes in. Put fire to somebody's face and you get whatever response you get. It absolutely is an answer and an acceptable one. Yeah, see, obviously when you read that OP slapped her partner across the face, that of course doesn't sound good and you would assume that there was a better way to handle the situation. But yeah, like that comment said, was it instinctive self-defense? I'm assuming so. This comment says, I told him to wait until I finished sending the email because it was important. You told him what you were doing. That's the opposite of ignoring him. He threatened you because you didn't drop everything that you were doing to serve him. Do with that what you will. This comment says he did something very dangerous and scary and wants to act like it's normal when it isn't. And on top of that, he wants to blame you for your very normal and understandable reaction. How things progress from here is going to be very important for your safety. If he remains unable to see the very serious wrong in what he did, you won't be able to trust him going forward. If he does backtrack, you're going to have to watch his behavior very close going forward. This is a very big red flag, and if there's any hint of similar behavior going forward, you're going to need to make some hard decisions about this man. The comment below that says, very much agree with this. This is not normal or loving behavior. This is a giant red flag for future emotional and physical abuse. Yeah, that's right. That is not normal or loving behavior. This comment says everybody sucks here. If the genders were reversed, all of these comments would be very different. I guarantee it. He should not have flicked a lighter in your face, but you definitely shouldn't have physically assaulted him. This comment says you the gay hole for slapping him across the face. You're the only one responsible for your reactions. If you had slapped his hand away, the one holding the lighter that actually scared you, that would have been a reflex response. Slapping him across the face was a decision, and hitting your partner, male or female, is wrong. Should he have flicked his lighter near your face? No, it was stupid and it was dangerous, but that doesn't justify hitting another person. This comment says your reaction wasn't entirely out of line considering the situation. His behavior, flipping a lighter close to your face, was inappropriate and startling. While your response of slapping him wasn't ideal, it was a reaction to feeling threatened. The key now is to address the incident calmly and work on setting clear boundaries about how you both handle conflict and communication. The next one is called Am I the Gay Hole? a-hole for not answering the door when my husband's boss arrived unannounced with a baby gift. Baby's 4 weeks old. It was 5 p.m. on a weekday and I was home with the baby and toddler. I was upstairs in the middle of pumping and baby was asleep when the doorbell rang. We get a lot of solicitors and I never answer the door, so I just continued with pumping. 5 minutes after, I hear my husband and another voice downstairs and he comes storming up the stairs and is like, sorry, I didn't know they were coming, and grabs the baby and heads back downstairs. And I'm like, what? Who is it? And he explains and says that it's his boss and wife and they're at the door with a baby gift. I respond, okay, as I'm still attached to the pump machine. I finish up and then I head back into the bathroom to pee and put on lotion. Husband comes back upstairs a couple of minutes after and he's very upset at me for not coming down to talk to them and receive their gift. I told him that I didn't realize I needed to, or that they were staying. He says it was very rude of me and I'm an a-hole for 1, not answering the door, and 2, not coming down after he told me. He says they were asking him where I was and what I was doing and that it was awkward for him. Oh my god, get out of here with that crap. Your husband is so out of line, OP. And also, here's an idea. Why don't you bloody tell somebody before you're gonna go to their house? Get out of here with this showing up unannounced bullshit. And more so for them to expect you to drop everything because they showed up. No, you're not the a-hole, OP. Edit to clarify, my husband was not home when they arrived. He arrived home 5 minutes after them, and they were still standing at the door, I guess. Update, we've talked about this further, and my husband apologized for his behavior, stating that he was stressed out rushing home from work. He said that had it been a friend of his or family, he wouldn't have cared if I didn't come down. But since it was his boss, it was important, and he thought that I realized that when I found out who it was. A typical response from him wanting to impress his boss. Apparently, he'd been texting with the wife for a week trying to arrange a time for them to bring the gift over, and it never worked out, so she assumed that it'd be okay to try and stop by. He maintains that he does not agree that it was rude of them to stop by, since they were bringing us gifts. He said he doesn't think it's rude for somebody to ring the bell and try to see if we're available in general. No, it's not, but you can't get angry at your partner if they're busy. OP's husband. We basically ended it on an agree to disagree, but I told him absolutely zero future unexpected guests for any reason, and he just kind of said okay, and that was it. No, you're not the a-hole, OP. And also, what were you meant to do? Answer the door topless or something? The top comment says, not the a-hole. You were literally in the middle of pumping. Should you just open the door with the pump still strapped? Your husband needs to realize that you're going through a lot at the moment, and you don't owe anybody your time right now, besides the baby. The comment under that says, that, not the a-hole. I don't answer the door for people I don't know either, especially when you're home alone with your baby, and also busy. Who even feels entitled to the mother of a newborn giving them time? Eat it, boss and husband. Yeah, and also this one. Cool, next time I'll go downstairs with my out to answer the door for you. Yeah, that's so frustrating and so inconsiderate. You're not in the wrong, OP. Wow, OP said this in the comments. He always wants to bend over backwards for the boss. He tells me that what I do is a reflection of him and that we have to be nice to them always. He told me that I was a child for hiding upstairs and they all knew that I was. Wow, what an a-hole. Oh my god, it gets worse. This comment says you were pumping and the baby was asleep. Your husband took a sleeping 4-week-old to meet people and then gets mad that the woman who's literally recovering from childbirth and all that comes with it, and a pumping that you didn't just jump and run downstairs. F that guy. To clarify, husband was not home when they arrived. He showed up 5 minutes after them and they were still standing at the door, I guess. He knew they were coming and didn't tell you. Not the a-hole. OP said apparently he said that the wife texted, are you home? And he replied, I'm 10 minutes away. And then they showed up 5 minutes after. It makes no sense to me why they would do that, other than they assumed that I was home and that it was okay, or also why he didn't call me and then tell me. Yeah, no matter which way you think about it, you're not the a-hole, OP. And you weren't hiding upstairs. God, that's so annoying. It's so frustrating when somebody's being an inconsiderate a-hole, all trying to bloody suck up to their boss too. Get out of here. But they think that they're in the right. The next one is called, am I the a-hole for calling my wife delusional for her looks maxing? Okay, I already don't like the sound of this. Looks maxing? That just reminds me of all that bloody incel terminology. I, 34 male, and my wife, 29 female, have been married for 3 years. After getting married, we moved to another state, and she has since remained unemployed. Now, my wife has more or less given up on finding work. The primary issue is that she can't find something that meets her standards, despite several businesses in our area actively hiring. This wasn't a problem at first, but since inflation has outpaced my raises, money is tight. It doesn't help that my wife orders takeout quite often. A few months back, she approached me saying that she had a plan for making some money on the side. I figured that it'd be some simple entry-level work from home job, but she told me that she was going to start looks maxing in a few months to start a cosplay Patreon. I did not know anything about looks maxing at the time, but I did know that most women who have successful cosplay Patreons are thin. My wife, standing 5'2" and weighing 220 pounds, is not. I kind of assumed that she would start dieting and exercising. I basically told her that if she wanted to start a journey of self-improvement, I'd be happy to encourage her, but I also emphasized that she shouldn't rely on a crapshoot like Patreon for money. She clearly didn't listen, as over the past 3 months she's been obsessively looks maxing, and her version of this is spending too much money on makeup and skincare while continuing to eat takeout and staying sedentary. She spends an inordinate amount of time watching makeup tutorials and TikToks about how to make yourself more attractive. After 3 months of this, I'd already reached my limit with her, which led to several arguments. But today, while I was at work, I got a notification from my bank that she had withdrawn $450 out of our joint account. I called her immediately and she didn't answer. I texted her and she didn't see it. I then told my boss I had to go home due to an emergency, and I left the office immediately. When I walked in the room, I found her in the living room. I asked her what the hell she'd spent $450 on, and she gawked at me, not realizing that I'm notified every time that she withdraws some money. Then she came clean that she'd bought a new facial cream. She said something like, "I know you're mad, but trust me, I'm going to make way more money when I start my Patreon." Furious, and I called her delusional. I called her a sedentary fast food addict, and I told her to return the lotion because we're not in a position to spend $450 on cosmetics. She responded that the store didn't accept returns, doubtful, and then when I told her that she was going to be selling it to somebody else, she grabbed the tiny container and opened it in front of me. Now she's in another room crying about the ensuing argument, repeating that I'm ruining her months of work on this project. I know that she'll come out eventually, if for nothing else but to order takeout again or something, but I'm starting to feel a bit bad about calling her delusional. Should I have handled it differently? Okay, so hoping this one's not real. This comment says she told me that she was going to start looks maxing, start a cosplay Patreon. I know you're mad, but trust me, I'm going to make way more money when I start my Patreon. Rest in peace, brother. Your wife has acute stage 4 brain rot. Cut your losses before stage 5 to ensure your mental stability, not the a-hole. The comment below that says she told me that she was going to start looks maxing. Also, that made me laugh my ass off. Not the a-hole. If she's reckless with money and not willing to make any herself, you need to separate bank accounts ASAP. She'll quickly get a job. Yeah, spending $450 of your partner's money on a face cream? Yeah, please tell me this one's not real. Yeah, I think that's a good place to end the episode. That was such a wild ride. I hope you guys had a good time today. If you did, make sure you let me know down below in the comment section. And to end the episode on a good note, I do have a cute, wholesome meme. How life feels after proofing your old self wrong and actually changing for the better instead of believing that you never could. Oh, that's so true and so beautiful. Hell yeah. Like, yeah, you know what? I can do this. That's so awesome. Thank you for watching, everybody. I hope you had a wonderful time today. And if you did, make sure you like and subscribe and all that fun stuff. And the comment of the day goes to Roach Seed Gaming. I just woke up ready to get back to my attempt at building a sky base in Minecraft. 1 minute old Vincey video fresh off the press. What a beautiful Friday morning. Oh, that's so awesome. Thank you for the support. I really appreciate it. And hell yeah about the sky base in Minecraft. That sounds awesome, and I'm happy that I could entertain you while you made that. I really appreciate the support. And yeah, thank you all for the support, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow with a brand new terrifying episode. Bye!